Good morning, and Alon Z, and welcome to episode 1 in a series on how to play against each character in Tekken 8. The most common response that I hear at locals about new players when they lose a set is the absolute classic, I don't even know what this character does. I myself have said this probably dozens of times after losing in tournament. And so with that in mind, I wanted to work on a series that breaks down the basics of how to play against each character in Tekken 8. I'm going to cover key moves, things that you absolutely have to punish, and common situations that you need to understand how to respond to so that you do get to play the game when you fight against these characters online or at your local. Now, keep in mind, Tekken characters have 100 or maybe in some case 150 to 200 moves. I can't cover all of those options. I can't cover every single unsafe moves. Look, we would be here longer than either of us want to be here if I did that. So if you want to play this game at an absolute high level and, top 64, top 32 at your majors, that kind of level, you're going to have to learn how to punish everything for yourself and how to handle certain situations with your character. But this guide is designed to be like kind of a jump start. Think of it as your intro to a chess opening kind of video. And the first 10 moves we can cover. The next 50 moves are going to be up to you. I've been playing this game competitively for about 6 years. I don't claim to know everything though, so I'm sure somewhere in a 30+ episode series I'm going to mess up. There might be also situations where I say you can sidestep this and your character can't. That's because different characters have different sidestep distances and different hurt boxes. That some characters can step certain things, some characters can't. If I know, Jack can't step something, I'll mention it, but the game's new, I haven't labbed everything. So take this stuff with a grain of salt. And I'm only going to give you strategies that I personally, use when I actually play games. Not, theory crafting, not, super high-level option selects. There might be a super high-level option select that I point out, but we're not really going to get anything deeper than, fuzzy guarding in this series. Because again, this is intended for an introduction on how to fight these characters. So, with all that in mind, let's talk about Victor. Victor's probably the character who I think most players I know have complained about. Even more than characters who I think are stronger, like Reina and June. People are just really not understanding how to fight against Victor. Number one thing about Victor is he's a weapon character. He has these knives in his hand. He's got his giant sword. He even has a gun. You cannot parry weapons in Tekken, so don't even try. And also having a sword means he has some long-range attacks, right? He's got these really long-range sword swipes. What's the stance input? Here we go. Yeah, this stuff. So people are getting tagged by that. And, we'll talk about that move in a second. Probably the most important thing about Victor, though, is that he is a character who emphasizes counter hits. If we look at Victor's moves, this doesn't do something. This doesn't really do much. Even this, yeah, you can get a wall splat, but if you're in open, you're just getting knocked down. His only move that he likes to throw out that really gives him reward are the heat engagers, right? So everything he's doing is to try to counter hit you. Counter hit launch. Whoop, that's not the move. Counter hit launch. Counter hit launch. So he's a counter hit character. Number one thing about fighting a counter hit character in Tekken, this is just general Tekken, they're trying to counter hit you for pressing buttons. The easiest way to counterplay that is to not mash buttons. So you want to be very mindful of when you're pressing in Tekken in general, but especially against a counter hit character like Victor. The other thing that you need to be mindful of is his lows. Well, that's not a low. His lows, -2, -3. These lows don't give huge reward for what they are. This one is good, +4, right? But there's this one little problem about this low. Because it has high crush and plus frames and counter hit property, it's -26 on block. Even Steve can launch that. So he's got some good tools for getting counter hits, but his lows are a little bit, the risk reward on his lows is not necessarily in his favor. They have more risk than the reward that he gets off of them, unless he gets the counter hit, right? So let's talk about just kind of his general game plan here. And then I'll get into like things like how to counterplay what he does and then like certain things that you should punish. So number one thing here, I think if we were going to give Victor a cornerstone move, like the move that defines his move list and probably every Victor player, every online Victor player's favorite move, it's this wall running 2. This wall running 2 kind of does everything for him because, oh, do it, Victor. He is plus on block. It knocks me down. If I get counter hit, it's a combo. And it's also got a little bit of tracking on it. Like, I can sidestep this, but also I could just as easily get tagged if I step on the wrong timing. You have to step it actually kind of late. So when you step kind of early, it has a little bit of tracking. And so a lot of people are probably fighting Victor, trying to sidestep this move and just getting knocked down. Then he's plus 5. And once he's plus 5, that's when all of these counter hit tools come out. His big counter hit tool, that's very important, is 1+2 because it's 15 frames. So plus 5 while running 2 tries to counter hit you. Then he's got a 15 frame counter hit launcher that he can throw out here. And this is safe on block. So that's pretty good. The other big thing he can try to throw out is, we talked about it, his down back 4. Where he can throw it out at mid range, he can throw it out to high crush your jab retaliation, counter hit launch. And the other kind of really key tool of his is his down 2. This is one of those big weapon, look at the range on this. This is like really nice range. And he can, it's a heat engager, right? So he actually doesn't need to counter hit this move. This is his one move that he can really punish you for safely if you want to duck it. So if you're ducking the down back 4, he's got the down 2. And he can also heat dash this for a combo. So very good mid. So Victor can create a pretty intimidating counterplay. Victor can create a pretty intimidating strategy with his counter hits, and with you are being very careful when you press. He also has a lot of panic options, like this move where he disappears from the game. He's got like a lightning screw type up forward 4 launcher. He has this lightning fast, high, safe power crush heat engager. So to kind of complement his counter hit fishing, when you think you're safe, he can go for the big panic option to try to keep things in his favor. So I could totally see why new players hate this, because they want to press buttons, so they're getting counter hit, and then when they think they're safe to press buttons, he does this nonsense. Or he also has a parry, like it's like a flash. It's actually a high. And if he counter hits this flash, he gets like a something. It's guaranteed. I thought, yeah, it's down 4-4. He gets down 4-4. It's really hard to hit with. He's got to like counter your move swinging into him kind of thing. But yeah, he has a flash. He has cool panic moves. This gives him his stance mix up. I don't know why that was so hard for me to do, but that's his whole thing. So let's look at what Victor does when he's got like spacing, like range like this. And then let's look at what Victor does when he's up close, because you don't want to play the same way in both situations. So from distance, most of his moves are going to whiff, obviously, except for like maybe this, right? I mean, you got to be ready for this. This could come out at any time. The good thing about this is it's super linear, right? So if you're moving left and right, this is not going to hit you. I think it's more intended to be used as just like a, I don't know, you just throw it out there. If you're a Victor player, what could go wrong? But we are talking about his wild running 2 has a little bit of tracking on it, right? So this wild running 2, let me re-record that. This wild running 2 can be a pain in the ass to step. So that's why a lot of Victor players are going to that first. And then this low that we talked about, this counter hit low, it's got really good range. So if Victor is trying to keep you out, he's not the kind of character who can just like throw out launchers. See how bad the recovery is on these launchers? Like, he is gonna die if he just throws this stuff out. So he's gonna rely on the down back 4 as, yes, it's gonna be hard to whiff punish because he pulls his leg back. So he wants to use your tendency to come forward and press buttons against you and try to counter hit you with these two moves. And then once if you're sitting still, wall running 2 is pretty good. It just gets him in. And if he wants to do his other big heat engager, he can throw that out too. So the good news is, this low, while it is very good, it can be sidewalked left. You got to sidewalk. Let's talk about sidewalking. You have to sidewalk. The reason I put a jab on this, you have to sidewalk on the timing when he does the move. Right? Because if I don't, I'm going to get hit like that. So we sidewalk on the timing of the move. And it's not 100% because you still have to read his timing. But this can give you an option to get away from some of this offense. And if he hits you, it's fine. Because he's not going to get a combo. What we don't want to do against Victor is start playing this game where I'm moving forward with buttons. Right? This is not in my favor. Victor wants you to do this. Boom. Okay, I got the hit, but I didn't get anything. And then if I'm late... boom, I'm getting counter hit. So the reward for me getting my 442 is plus frames. The reward for me getting counter hit for Victor is he gets a full combo and probably wins the round. So in general, I would say try not to be at this range against Victor. He's pretty good out here. You know, if you do find yourself out here, you can mix in these sidewalks, and I think sidewalk guard is good. Like just a short sidewalk into a guard. If the low gets you, you don't care. If you block this, that's fine. If you get the whiff, well, you probably just won the round. Cool? Cool. So, we don't want to get in with buttons then, right? So I'm going to try to get in. I'm going to try to make him whiff something. Maybe I get the block. I can read the block on the low as well. This low, by the way, this low is 20 frames. That's on the fringe cusp of what you can react to as a human being. I cannot react to this, okay? I can't. I've seen some pro players saying they can't react to this. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you should react to this, but you can read if he's being really predictable with this. Feel free to just make that play and give him the launch. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, just walk left. That's fine. Now, once you're up close, well, let's talk about how to get close. The best way to get close is just use your forward movement. Just get in there. You don't want to risk pressing buttons to mix in your bend. You're not really wanting to backdash him. If he's dashing towards you, good. You know, if he dashes at me, I'm going to dash back. Now we're in range. Now I can hit him with my moves, right? And I have counter hit moves at this range. Most characters are going to have much more rewarding options up close to Victor than far away. I don't know, if you're playing like Lee or something, who is more of a mid-range counter hit character, I don't know, I don't play Lee. I'd probably say still try to get in and fight him up close, because it's just a pain in the ass dealing with his mid-range game. So up close, Victor's going to do all his same stuff. He's got his down 4-1 as a mid-check, but his poking game isn't anything crazy. Like, your character is probably better at poking than him, unless you play like Kazuya, or someone like that, maybe Paul. Because his low pokes are kind of trashy, and his only real, like, he's got this nice little thing, he's got this, but he doesn't have anything too crazy. He can go for counter hits, obviously. He can throw this out, but this is very risky, right? I'm not going to try to sidewalk him up close, by the way. I'm not going to risk the sidewalking, because I don't want to get tagged by a launcher. But what we can do up close is we can take advantage of Victor's primary weakness, which is that he's a little bit linear. He doesn't have the best tracking. What else does he like to do? He likes to use down two, right? There's just some moves that he likes to do. So, we're just going to block. You know, he's pressuring. Oh, hey, I can step that right. I can step that right. I can step all this right. This is great. So, you know, all his key moves that he wants to throw out to try to poke you, try to lock you down, try to get a counter hit, I can just move away from him. Why is he not doing the down 4-1? That's the one I wanted to show. It's number 2. There it is, yeah. This down for 1 is the same thing. We gotta set the down for 1. Like that. So, yeah, if I'm going right, his down for 1 is gonna tag me. But I don't die. And let's turn all this other stuff on. Come on, Victor. Hey, I can step that left. I can step that left. I can step that left. I can step all of that to the left. So, his linearity up close is kind of a weakness for him. Now, in general, I would say if you're going to sidestep in Tekken, you should always sidestep like into a guard because you don't want to risk getting hit by a big homing move. And the reason I say go right, even though his down for 1 will clip you, is I don't want to eat. If the Victor decides he's going to take matters into his own hands, this is going to lose to sidestep right. It's going to tag me for sidestepping left and launch me. So I'd rather go right, and I'm going to eat that down for 1. And if he's just down for 1ing me, cool. If he's just going to like do a lot of down for 1s to try to stop me from moving, that's fine. Because I can block the down for 1, it's minus. I can step after the down for 1. I could parry the down for 1 because it's not a weapon. And the other key thing here is we're not just getting up close to Victor and then playing mad defense, right? No. I want you to poke this man. Because we don't want to do like huge moves, like throw out my huge 20 frame mids here. Because I don't want him to counter hit me. But if I'm just doing like jab, down for 1, you know, little quick hit strings, these are going to add up. I got better low. You probably have better lows than Victor, unless you're playing like Steve or somebody like that. Even Steve, I think, has better lows than Victor. So you can just go up here and just poke, 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 and also while you're poking, I want you to throw Victor, because what does every Victor player want to do when they're getting pressured? Well, they want to throw this thing out. Because this thing is like the I'm done playing defense button. Right? So, adding in throws to your poking game. The other thing you want to add into your poking game when you're attacking him is you want to delay your pressure. Because let's say he makes himself unsafe, or minus rather, and he goes for the big option to reverse the situation. He's gonna, when he does this move, he vanishes from the game, okay? You might get a trade. I guess Magic 4 does work there. But most things are just gonna lose, unless you have a really nice... Yeah, even there, if I Magic 4 on immediate timing, boom, I'm dead. So, what we're doing is, okay, I'm just gonna wait, and if I block this, hey, he's minus 20, that's great. Now, we gotta be a little careful about Victor in Heat, because in Heat, this... Oh, I'm controlling the wrong character. This move becomes safe in Heat. And it also has mad tracking in Heat. It's one of the best Heat moves in the game. It uses about 1/3 of his gauge. So if he activates off of like this, he gets 3 of these things, I think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Or he could do 2 and his Heat Smash. So Victor's Heat mode is pretty good. He gets this ridiculous, just beat everything option that then becomes safe on block. The other thing that he gains in Heat is his Heat Smash is a lull. So that helps round out his lack of like rewarding lows. Boom. Well, the range on this is actually pretty good. I don't know how I managed to whiff it, but you guess it's nice little knockdown. The other way he can augment his lows not being that rewarding is to use his stances. The risk reward in his stances is a little more in his favor, but these stance lows are still pretty unsafe. The moves you have to punish. This is one of them. This is really, really bad on block. I can... oh, it forces crouch. So, You can do I have an 18 frame while standing launcher. If I can launch it, you can launch it. I can't think of any character in the game that can't launch that. Even Steve can launch that. Next move, pretty much they're all going to be launchers for the most part. This up forward 4. This is a move that he can throw out, right? But he's a counter hit character. He's not meant to just be throwing out launchers. So this fast low crush launcher, this is launch punishable. Minus 19. Again, I can even forward to it. Same thing, his down forward 2. You know, down forward 2 usually is like a, you know, not that unsafe. Well, his is minus 14. I don't have the juiciest 14 frame punish, but some characters can launch this. Like Brian, you get to launch that. Lars, you get to launch that. So 14 frame punishes, usually you're at least going to get a heat engager in this game at minus 14, so you want to take that. Another very important move to block punish is going to be his while standing one. This thing, Victor players are throwing this out like it's safe. It is minus 16. Now it's got a little bit of pushback on it, so your launcher it should reach. It might not reach. I think with the looks of this, everybody's launcher should reach. But just in case, you might have to lab this and see what is your 16 frame, like, kind of ranged punisher. In the case of June, she has a really long range, down for 2, so I can just do that. That's the kind of, like, absolutely you must punish these on block. The other one I would add to that list is we already talked about down back 4. If you block this, you must make him pay. That's a stagger. Whenever you block a stagger low in Tekken, you have to make them pay, okay? Very important. Next up is going to be stuff that you want to react to and or duck. Stuff you want to duck. He loves to throw out these strings that go into his, I think it's his Aya stance. I'm just going to call it quick draw stance. Goes into his quick draw stance, right? So these strings are natural. The string here is natural on hit, meaning he gets the whole thing. It's his, I think it's his 12 frame punisher. Yeah, it's his 12 frame punisher. Cool. If he does it on block, I can duck the gunshot. I don't have to just let him, because if he goes into this, yeah, he's minus 3, but then I don't really want to play the stance mine game. Even at minus frames, I don't want to deal with it. I would much rather just duck him and launch him. And it's like, you got a long time, because that gun, it has to shoot a whole bullet. I know he vanishes, but he's still vulnerable. Same thing with that's his 2-2-2. The other thing that you want to do is his down 4-4-2. The gun is always a 2, I think. So this one's a little harder to react to because it's a single hit knee, and then he does the gun, but it's pretty slow. Like, you kept time to see him pull the gun out and then duck. Even if you just see the knee and instinctually duck, that's fine. Because we want to launch him for this. Get the launch on this. Now, worst case scenario, you're in this, up against this stance, and he is minus 3. That's not the end of the world. We don't actually have to respect that stance at minus 3. There's kind of a mind game he can play, but it's not super strong. I think his other stance is probably like the overall stronger stance. I'll talk about how to do with the stances after I talk about the last move I want you to duck. And that move is going to be down for 1-1. This is like, Victors are just kind of throwing this out like it's nothing. It's minus 4. It's got good natural, right? Little boom. Good damage. But, like, I can just twitch duck here. And if he does this, we get to launch him. And we have, this is so bad on whiff. Okay, I want to just, like, have him not have the one where I messed up. There we go. It's really bad on whiff, because he swings twice. I meant to do the 3+4. And you can see I am just No, I can't do basic execution. There we go. I am just immediately ducking, and I can launch him. Now, what you might run into is you duck, and he stabs you when you try to do your launch. And that's because your launcher is coming up a little too quick. So that's fine if you have like a 15 frame while standing Punisher. Wait for him to whiff the second one. Just wait for him to whiff that second stab, and then you're good. Because it's still, even the second stab is bad on whiff. It's not a hard move to punish. So we got all the moves you want to duck to deal with Victor. We got all the moves that you want to block punish to deal with Victor, and general counter strategies. So let's talk about his stances. Let's talk about this stance transition first. From this stance, he's got some options, right? The main thing he likes to do is the mind game, right? You get into here on block, he's -3, but he has a power crush, right? Well, it's not the end of the world. Even if I jab into it, I can block this. Now, when I block it, it becomes safe, and that's annoying, right? Because I'd like to punish that. So, if you have a read on the power crush, it's Tekken 8. Throw him. We can also send lows. And if he doesn't do the power crush, nothing else is going to beat your down jab or down for 1. You don't have to play this annoying mind game. I mean, you can. You could throw. We could heat burst here as well. You got your heat burst. I think I did that in the match that I showed at the beginning. But just duck the high. Just duck the high. Practice ducking the high. I need to practice ducking this high too. And then we'll all be alright against these stupid strings from Victor, and we can go about our business, right? Because the penalty that he gets for ducking is not as good as the reward that he gets for you blocking it. His other... Well, let's talk about what to do about this stance when he actually... the way he's supposed to use it is he's going to hit confirm into it and be +4, right? That's what he wants to do. And usually this is off of his punishes. That's his 12 framer. This is his 13 framer. So he has punish into stance. And this is a pretty decent stance. It's got this big slash here. Pretty hard to sidewalk this at -4. Or when he's +4 rather. So you kind of have to respect the stance mix. He's got some faster options. We talked about the power crush, and he can go to some lows. He's got a low stomp, and he's got the sweep. The thing is, this big slash is 16 frames. His sweep comes out at 20 frames, right? So if we do the math, this is like the most option selecty I'm gonna get on you guys, is we'll just set up the thing, go for the sweep, and then set up the thing and go for the mid. What we want to practice is ducking late. This call a fuzzy duck. We're gonna duck late because I can stand block that, and then if he ever does the freaking low, yeah, I'm gonna block that. Now, it's not the greatest, because you might notice this mid is still going to do chip damage. Does a... Oh, that's the low. Yeah, that mid does a grip of chip damage. So, but he's earned some pressure because you got punished. So, and once you block that, we can just backdash away, take the chip, and go about your business. Now, he could throw out the slower option, the down 2, where it's the mid explosion. I'll show that. Boom! You can do that because that's slow, right? That's like a big slow thing, and that'll... So if you duck late... Whoops. Duck late, and then this blows you up, right? If you wanted to get like really high level, you actually have time to duck and then stand back up. But, you know, if he's going for this... Ooh. That's interesting. You can hit him out of this. Even in here, I can just hit him out of this. So if you get the Victor to start going for this because your blocking is low, then, you know, for some reason my down for 2 is just not doing it. I must. Oh, okay. You gotta mash your down for 2 if you're gonna go for that. Yeah, you can get your down for 2 out in time. So if he's gonna go for the big plus on block option, that option is also slow enough you could sidewalk it. But this is Tekken 8, so maybe active defense is good. You could mash out of it too. Let's talk about his other stance. It's the Perfumer stance, which I think is his better stance. One, he can go into it as a forward advancement. It's kind of like Lars. And then he's got options. You know, like, they love to go like just like Lars. Boom, boom, right? Stance low. He can also like kind of like a Lars kind of thing. This isn't a specific stance. He just goes into full crouch, but like up in your face. So like that's kind of cool too. And the other way that you're gonna see him go into this stance, because if he's just doing this, well, I can just like hop kick him or whatever, because he's not able to block here. He's doing this. If he's doing this in your face, like, how do you do it? Yeah, this stuff, just hop kick him. He's not gonna be able to block that. But he can hit confirm into this stance because his down back 1, or his back 1, it has a follow up, right? That's a high. And he can then come up here and go into stance. So it's nice. I mean, he can try to play the conditioning game with like, am I gonna finish it or am I gonna go? But it's pretty reactable if he does this on block. And then you don't have to hold the stance at all if he does this on block. I can just hit him. He cannot block. He's -5. Active defense. It is the time for active defense. I do not have to make really even a read. But if he's hit confirming, boom, boom, he's +5. Okay, now we have to deal with some actual defending. So he's got a few different options here. He doesn't have a power crush. Thank God. He's got the low, which comes out at 19 frames. Oh, I didn't mean to re-record it. The low. And he's got the big heat engager. Boom. That's what he wants to go for. Everybody with a heat engager and stance, they want to swing with it. He's also got a homing move, and he's got a couple of quicker moves. Same thing. The low is slower, so just duck late. Now, I think it's a weapon stab. Let's try to parry it. Yeah, it's a weapon, so I can't parry it. You could hop kick it on a read, again, but it's probably better to just not risk getting hit by that, right? And instead, just practice the fuzzy timing. I'm making it look a little harder than it probably is. I'm ducking too early. Yeah, you have all day. You could even... Oops. If you have, like, really good reactions, you could... I don't know, 19 frames, I wouldn't try to react to it, but maybe you can. Maybe you can do it. But you definitely... It's something you want to practice. This is not like, watch this video and then implement this. Because depending on the spacing... Oh, you know why? It's because I'm blocking. It's changing the timing. I want to get hit, and then go for the fuzzy. Yeah, see, now we're getting it. Yeah. Gotta practice it. Worst case scenario, you think that's too hard to fuzzy? Read the 50-50. And react accordingly with either a hop kick or a low duck. The other thing that he can do in this stance that's actually pretty good, but like not crazy, is he can just say, screw the 50-50 game. I got this that goes into stance. Or I can finish it. So he can kind of play this game of like, okay, I hit confirmed, I can try to hit confirm, or I can try, you know, do I finish the string or not? And that's fine. If he wants to play that game, you're perfectly content to just block this and make a read on whether or not he finishes. If you block the whole thing, the whole shebang here, he's going to get -4 to stance again. So same deal. Same deal. If you end up in this case, like, oh no, I didn't, you know, I thought he was going to finish it. He didn't. Well, I just had to deal with Power Crush. That's the only real thing I have to sweat about. And if I want to just throw him, I can. So that's kind of like basic stuff with his stances. The other thing about Perfumer is a little tricky to sidestep or sidewalk. It's got some decent tracking in both directions. The quick draw stance, if he's going into it from like the neutral, just like raw quick draw, this is really the only thing that's gonna deal with your sidewalk. Well, that and the hell sweep, that's gonna deal with sidewalk. So that can be good. But if you sidewalk it on good timing, nah, I wouldn't try. I wouldn't try it. Yeah, I wouldn't try it. So that's kind of like his tracking thing out of this stance. Yeah, not worth trying to do, in my opinion. So the only thing that you really can't sidewalk is the big slash there, which is unfortunately safe and does chip. And then the other stance has pretty good tracking options. You kind of have to make a read on what he's going to do. I'm not going to go into every single option for every single stance because we just, again, don't have that kind of time. We're already getting to be over half an hour long, so I think that is gonna do it. I do plan to go through every single character in the game. Hopefully, if you were frustrated with Victor, that you found this helpful. And check back. I'm gonna try to do these one a week for the next, 30-some weeks or so until we get through the whole cast. So, see you next time.